This guy, I think his name is Jake Tran.
Watch Jake Tran.
Jake Tran.
Shout out to Jake Tran.
My good friend Jake Tran.
Jake Tran.
And someone I'm incredibly proud of is Jake Tran.
This is Jake Tran, YouTube extraordinaire, my personal friend, and overall a great guy.
Went from a no-name website developer to over 1 million YouTube subscribers. For those that haven't watched this channel, Jake Tran puts out like movie quality production content. And
known for his controversial video business essays.
Something that we really admire. He is probably the most entertaining, informational YouTube page on the planet.
Yes, best info or edutainment I've ever seen.
He is bound to be on some kind of watch list by now.
And like this shit was so fire.
Jake Tran, and he has some amazing videos. Like I look at his videos now, I'm like, what? Like, this is crazy. I am so proud of Jake.
Has now reached tens of millions of people through the platform, has reached over 600,000, now approaching 700,000.
You just recently hit 1 million subscribers. Oh, it's not 1 million yet.
It's actually super close.
What is it at?
999,130 subscribers.
Oh my gosh.
897 subscribers a week.
How many?
Jake Tran.
I came across this YouTube channel this weekend called Jake Tran.
You just came across him, Jeremy?
Yeah.
What?
I hardly get to watch YouTube.
Oh my gosh.
With arguably the most controversial and dangerous viral video business essay creator on the platform.
Yeah, without further ado, Jake Tran, everybody.
Yo, Jake.
I spent almost every waking hour of the past 6 years of my life trying to understand the algorithm and make it as a YouTuber. And I can finally say I've cracked the code. But this YouTube story goes much further back than just 6 years. And to start the story off, I'm gonna take you back to the very beginning, so you can put yourself in my shoes and save yourself from years of struggling. I'm gonna go over my upbringing, how I actually failed at YouTube a bunch of times because I was copying others, and how that led me to a very unique approach to YouTube that allowed me to escape competition and create my own unique niche, where viewers only had me to flock to. So growth on YouTube became extremely easy, and I'll walk you through step by step on how you can do the same. And at the end, I'm gonna share with you my plan to expand this media business into something much bigger than just YouTube. My name is Jake Tran, and this is how I cracked the YouTube algorithm. I was born in Saigon, Vietnam, and moved to America when I was 2, which is great because I get to use the immigrant card. Like many immigrants, my parents moved here with nothing to escape poverty, so that me and my sister could have more opportunity, so I ended up growing up very poor. I had far from the worst childhood ever, but all I ever knew was poverty. I remember my parents would take me and my older sister to McDonald's, but to save money, we would bring in an ice cooler with our own soda, and me and my sister would split a burger on the dollar menu to save money. I remember my parents canceling cable to save money, so all I had to watch was YouTube. That combined with growing up in an Asian household with extremely high standards, where all we ever talked about was money and our careers because they wanted the best for us. And you have a kid that swears that he will never be poor again. I didn't have much luck socially either. I got picked on in school, which made an already introverted boy even more shy and even more of a target for bullies to pick on. I was always the outcast, always the loser. I never had many friends. I was shy, awkward, afraid to be vulnerable, you name it. Looking back, little did I know that that craving to be accepted, combined with a burning desire to never be poor again, would make for the perfect psychological combination for YouTube. In middle school, I ended up getting into 3 fights. I was probably around 12 at the time, and I would end up winning one of them and losing 2. A 1-2 record. My parents were afraid that I would become a delinquent, as they should have, so my dad put me in Taekwondo. At the time, I was doing Taekwondo.
What's Taekwondo for us old people?
Taekwondo,
Taekwondo.
The Korean martial art.
Oh, Taekwondo, dude.
Damn it,
I thought you said tech window. You said
Taekwondo.
Dude, he said just saying.
Christ, dude.
Hold on.
And I instantly fell in love with it. I started progressing faster than everyone else. I started competing around the country even once in Korea, and I very quickly became an instructor in high school. It would become my full-time job all throughout high school. And while I was in high school, I started getting really into tech channels on YouTube like Marquez Brownlee and Linus Tech Tips. I would see them having fun on camera, getting free tech, having sponsor spots. Linus had a giant warehouse with sets, cameras, an entire production crew, and I was just captivated by the idea that you could make money doing something so fun and creative. I was sold. But the problem was, I was only 16 or 17 at the time. I didn't have any expertise in anything except for Taekwondo. So the goal became obvious. I was gonna be the Linus Tech Tips of the Taekwondo world. So I launched my first channel, a channel that will remain unnamed because I find it very cringy, and I ended up making videos on Taekwondo exercises, highlight reels of competitions I would go to, gear reviews, and obviously it didn't work. After nearly 2 years of just straight grinding, I only had around 5,000 subscribers to show for it. Pretty bad. I distinctly remember making around $200 every 3 months from YouTube AdSense, because $200 was the threshold you had to hit to get paid out by YouTube. By now, I had just started college, I was burnt out from Taekwondo and YouTube, so I decided to throw in the towel, give up on my dream, and I went with the traditional route. Most entrepreneur stories go something like this. I sucked at school, school wasn't for me, so I dropped out and started my own business. My story was not so clear-cut, because I was actually really good at school. I graduated 11th in my high school and went on to study computer science at my community college. I was a complete academic. Eventually, I landed my dream job after my second year of college, a remote coding job doing front-end web developments. At the time, I was 19 and it paid $40 an hour, which if I worked full-time hours, I would have been making around $80,000 a year at 19 or 20. Not bad. And almost instantly, I dropped out of college, never even getting my associate's degree. At the time, I was so happy. I thought I had made it. But then I started the job. And it was very novel at first, but that novelty soon started to wear off, fast, like within 6 months or so. And soon I found myself banging my head against the keyboard. At the time, I was watching a lot of personal finance and investing content on YouTube, and I thought this was the time to give YouTube another shot. So I quit my dream job and entered into round 2 of trying to crack the algorithm. At the time, I was a huge fan of Graham Stephan, one of the biggest names in the finance investing space. And the #1 advice you'll hear about making it on YouTube is that you just have to be consistent. Consistency is key. If you're consistent, you'll eventually blow up. So I basically consistently copied Graham Stephan every single week for another year straight. The same video topics, the same editing style, the same thumbnails and titles, basically the exact same videos. And obviously, it didn't work. So, growing up trying YouTube, I always heard the #1 advice of just be consistent. Just be consistent with your content and eventually you'll blow up. That was a complete lie. Because no matter how many times you put out the same video consistently, if it's a bad video, it's still gonna be a bad video, no matter if you upload it once or 1,000 times consistently. Based on that alone, this premise of just being consistent and blowing up is not true. So you need something else other than being just consistent. What I found is that you have to be both consistent and offer something different, something innovative in terms of content that isn't being offered by the marketplace already, whether that be YouTube or TikTok or whatever. I was a year into my second try at YouTube, and I had a whopping 347 subscribers to my name. See, you want to imagine YouTube as a competition between your video versus others. This competition can be on the YouTube homepage, the sidebar and search results, etc. And the competition is this: whose video is going to be clicked on more? Knowing that that's the case, that this is a competition to see who can be clicked on more and which video is watched more, also known as click-through rate and watch time, if I made the exact same video as Graham Stephan, for example, the exact same title and thumbnail, the exact same script, editing, everything, where every variable is the exact same, except for the channel name, the profile picture, the face in the thumbnail, and who is on camera, whose video is gonna get clicked on every single time? His video, where he already has the high view counts, where his channel name and face is already well known and recognizable, where his video has the verified channel badge, or mine, that has none of that? I think you know the answer by now. I was really copying Graham Stephan back then.
Yeah.
And I realized that, even if I have like the same title, thumbnail, script, exact same words as he does, the only difference is me being on camera talking instead of him. If you put those side by side on the YouTube homepage, who would you rather click on? Graham Stephan with the verified badge, 100K views, versus someone like me who you don't know what my name is and I have like 10 views. You would always click on Graham's every single time, so you can never win. So the only way to get people to click on you is to offer something completely different. Every moment in business, every moment in the YouTube ecosystem happens only once. That's why the next Mr. Beast is not going to be making game show type videos. The next In a Nutshell is not going to be making the same style of animated science videos. The next PewDiePie is not going to be making the same exact weird videos as PewDiePie. And that's why the next Jake Tran is not going to be making Jake Tran videos. And if you try to copy these creators, you are not learning from them. Each one of these titans did something drastically different than what was being offered before. That's why copying doesn't work. That's why in YouTube, you need to innovate just like any other business. If you truly understand and internalize this concept, you will be set for life.
And when you copy someone, there's like an inherent ceiling you can reach, which is how big the person you're copying is. So that's why copying doesn't work. A lot of people, when they go into YouTube, they start off by copying the people they watch, which is a good place to start, but it's not going to get you where you want. And the reason why is because I go back to Henry Ford. So do you know how Henry Ford got the idea for the assembly line?
I actually do remember reading it. Oh, you know what? It probably wasn't that book, but I actually remember reading it. But go ahead, tell everybody.
Yeah, he visited a slaughterhouse.
Oh, wow.
So if Henry Ford only copied his competitors, there's like no possible way he would have came up with the idea for an assembly line, because that wasn't in like all the data points he could have got from his competitors would have never concluded make an assembly line.
Sure.
He had to visit some other niche, some other industry.
So another industry that you're pretty much pulling the idea from.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be an industry. It can be another field of study or whatever to see to get other ideas.
And when I realized this, I knew I needed to change something. I knew I needed to stop copying and that I needed to find a way to do something completely different that the YouTube world had never seen before. And that's when I stumbled upon the book that would change my life.
How old were you when you read the Blue Ocean Strategy book?
Blue Ocean Strategy.
The Blue Ocean Strategy.
Blue Ocean Strategy. Blue Ocean Strategy. Blue Ocean Strategy. I looked at all the factors that made up their videos.
Enter the Blue Ocean Strategy. This book basically shows you how to go into any crowded marketplace that has a ton of competition, which we'll call a red ocean that's filled with blood from everyone fighting over the same food. And it shows you how to carve out your own little blue ocean, where there's zero competition and gaining traction is easy because you're the only option customers have to go to. Take the wine brand Yellowtail for example. The wine industry is very old with a lot of competition. Wines are also very intimidating to get into. There's too many options to where drinkers don't know where to start. Wine has an acquired taste that is difficult to appreciate. There's a whole snobby culture to it, etc. And yet Yellowtail emerged as the fastest growing wine brand in the histories of both the Australian and US markets, being the #1 imported wine in the US, surpassing France and Italy. An incredible disruptive feat. By 2003, it was the #1 sold red wine bottle in America, outperforming California wines. Within a decade, Yellowtail became one of the top 5 most powerful wine brands in the world. All of this was because they created a blue ocean. They listed out all the factors of the wine industry, the price of wine bottles, how much fancy wine terminology they used, how complex the wines are, how many options there are, etc. Then they listed out what their competitors did. Premium wines were priced high, used a lot of fancy terminology, had a lot of different options to choose from, and so on. Budget wines like boxed wines were really cheap, still had a decent amount of wine terminology, and every other factor was a medium amount. And then Yellowtail systematically went through each factor and decided what they wanted to increase, decrease, get rid of, and add. They increased the price a little higher than budget wines, but a lot lower than premium wines. They got rid of all the fancy terminology above the line marketing and aging quality altogether, and decreased the next 3 factors. And then what they did was add other factors that the traditional wine industry never even thought of. How easy the wine is to drink, how easy and not intimidating it is to choose which wine to buy, and how fun and social the drink was. The results? A completely different take on wine that not only escaped competition, but completely disrupted the industry in every sense of the word. It simply didn't steal sales from competitors, it grew the markets. Yellowtail brought non-wine drinkers, beer and ready-to-drink cocktail consumers into the wine markets, and it completely changed the face of the US wine industry in the span of 2 years. And this was the exact same approach I took towards YouTube. I looked at the 2 niches within YouTube that I watched the most. Number 1, the make money, finance, investing niche, like the Graham Steffens of the world. And number 2, the infotainment niche, B-roll voiceover channels like One Over Productions, Polymatter, Kurzgesagt, etc. And then I listed out the factors that made up those YouTube videos. How intellectual the videos are, the make money niche was in the middle, the infotainment niche was high, how much of a personal connection you have with the creator, the make money niche was high since they're on camera, and you're staring at them in the eyes for like 10 minutes straight, and the infotainment niche was very low, since they weren't on camera at all. How much storytelling there was in these videos, the make money niche was almost non-existent, the infotainment niche was very high, and a bunch of other factors. how long the videos are, how visually stimulating the videos are, how much humor there is, how much selling there was in the videos, etc. And then I went through each factor and I decided which ones I wanted to increase, decrease, get rid of, and add. One of the factors I added came from the video essay niche, where they broke down movies like The Dark Knight, creating the ultimate antagonist, or how to begin a movie. I added the use of movie scenes into this blue ocean I was building. You look at your competitors, you list out all the attributes that make up like their product. In this case, it's a video, so like the length of the video, how entertaining is it, how much selling do they do in the video, how much of a personal connection you have with the creator, etc. And I basically took the stuff that I liked, removed the stuff that I didn't like, changed some stuff that I didn't like, and added other stuff that people never thought about. And the result, I still have like a picture of this little sketch that I made of the strategy. The result was kind of the channel I have today.
Really?
There's really no one really competing with me. There's actually copycats now. But yeah, when you have no competition, everyone has to flock to you.
When I started doing stuff with stand-up online,
yeah,
it all came from outside of stand-up.
Exactly.
It was music. It was all these other people that were having success.
Exactly.
And I was even vloggers, and I was like, okay, we can't apply the same stand-up rules to this. We have to see what everybody else is doing, and then try to get inspiration from that. That makes total sense. That's interesting.
One of the easiest ways to innovate in business is to just look at other industries.
Other industries,
Or other fields. It doesn't have to be like business industries. And the result of this blue ocean strategy? A brand new video style that was never seen before. No one else was making videos like this, so the only place viewers had to go to was me. I made 6 videos following this new format, which did just okay, but then I made the 7th video. It was called Why Graham Stephan is Killing the YouTube Algorithm. I posted it did nothing significant, but then I messaged Graham on Instagram about it. He watches it, he's amazed, he shares it on his Instagram, and viewers start flooding in. I'm staring at the view count jumping up by hundreds, then thousands, every time I click refresh. And within the span of 22 days, this video climbs to 100,000 views. To say I was ecstatic is an understatement. It was pure dopamine.
He made a video on, I think it was on me, and it was so detailed, and he just took a different path and knocked it up. He was making videos in the very beginning that were basically identical to mine. I'm not saying he's copying my videos, but like the same sort of format, style, topic choice, thumbnail. He eventually switched to these amazing documentary style videos that just blew up out of nowhere. And now I enjoy watching his videos a lot. I mean, it's like you're watching a 30-minute movie once a week that he puts together, and they're all getting like several 100,000 views each. I think he's closing in on 500,000 subscribers. I am so proud of Jake because he was able to figure out like, okay, why is the current style not working? Let me switch it up. Let me do something that no one else is doing, which were these documentary finance style videos. And I'm so happy for him because they did well. He found his niche. He solidified himself in that space. And it's upward growth from there.
And all of this happened because I stopped copying. I stopped competing, and I created my own blue ocean. Competition is a sin. Competition inherently leads to zero profits. And as the billionaire Peter Thiel says, all happy companies are different. Each one earns a monopoly by solving a unique problem. All failed companies are the same. They failed to escape competition. Put another way, all happy YouTube channels are different. Each one earns a monopoly by solving a unique problem. All failed YouTube channels are the same. They failed to escape competition. Build a monopoly. Here's a picture of the original sketch I made way back when I was figuring all this out. So I finally found some traction on YouTube, but I was still kind of shooting in the dark. Do I make more YouTuber breakdowns like this? Do I try other topics? Or in other words, it was time to iterate. The next few videos were still getting way more views than I ever had, but compared to the first one that blew up, they all bombed. Somewhere along the line, I started watching a documentary on war profiteering, and I was blown away. I was so fascinated by it. I was so shocked that this wasn't common knowledge, that average people didn't know about this. But the problem was, who in their right mind would be interested in a video on war profiteering out of all things? Only nerds like me would watch this. Making a video on war profiteering would be such a waste of time. But I decided to do it anyways, just to satisfy my own intellectual thirst. The viciously profitable business of war goes live, with my guy Patrick Bateman on the thumbnail, and boom, To my surprise, it becomes one of my best performing videos. Apparently, there are a lot of nerds out there like me interested in dark subjects like this. Interesting. So I kept trying other dark topics that no one else would make videos on. The same thing happened after I saw the movie War Dogs and my subsequent video on it, how to make money off of World War III. And then the same thing happened with another video, the profitable business of enslaving third world countries. Then the same with money laundering, the art of cleaning dirty money. And then China's profitable business of concentration camps. And then the economics of the mafia. And it just kept going on. There was a market for these super dark videos explaining how the world really works. And it was through these iterations that I realized this about the world we live in. Everyone in this world wants power. When you feel like you don't have any power, you feel weak, low status, you fall into depression. No one wants less power, everyone wants more power. The pursuit of power is old as human nature itself, and yet chasing power is taboo. In today's world, everything has to look civilized, decent, democratic, fair. Our world is supposed to be the pinnacle of fairness, and yet greed, envy, lust, hatred boils and simmers under the surface as they always have. If you stab your opponent in the back, it must be with a velvet glove on your hand and with the sweetest smile on your face. To the outside, you have to look decent, modest, civil, but on the inside, you deceive, manipulate, outmaneuver, you lure your opponents into traps, all in the name of acquiring more power. This is the world we live in, whether you like it or not. And because of all of this, all the most important information in the world is kept secret by those who want to keep and grow their power. There's a reason why no one teaches us about any of this. There's a reason why none of this is taught in schools. And that has become the purpose of this channel. To expose how this world of power really works. To help you navigate this world. To level out the playing field for the powerless. To help you become more dangerous. Because as Jordan Peterson once said, a harmless man is not a good man. A good man is a very dangerous man who has that under voluntary control. Which brings us to today. With over 100 million views, multiple videos every week, longer private documentaries in our YouTube membership for the videos that are too controversial to post publicly, and over 1 million subscribers and counting. And the best part is that all of this is just phase 1. Phase 1 of this movement to make people more dangerous. Because as Machiavelli once said, any man who tries to be good all the time is bound to come to ruin among the great number who are not good. The rest of this year would be focused on pumping out even more professional content than we already are. I want every single video of ours to feel like a short movie, and every single private documentary to feel like a true Netflix level movie. And to do this, I'm going to be heavily reinvesting money into hiring a much larger team. I'm talking better video editors, better sound designers, better voiceover actors, better graphic designers, everything. That's phase 2, Netflix level content for free and more of it. On top of that, I have a super big announcement that I'm going to review in the next few weeks that you guys are going to love. Can't wait. And when that's all said and done, then it's time for the finale. Tran Mafia, the final phase, phase 3, is that we're going to be launching our own tech startup, which I'll probably name Tech Window. A tech platform that will be better than Netflix, better than Disney, better than Hulu, all of it. Why? Because those platforms are mostly just mindless content that just wastes your life, with some good documentaries here and there. With ours, you guys are gonna get access to the best documentaries out there. Documentaries that expose how the world works. Documentaries that are insanely addictive to watch. That say things that aren't allowed to be said anywhere else. Documentaries that teach you how to navigate and win in this murky world we call home. Documentaries that truly have the power to change the world. But all of this is only gonna be possible with your help. Each and every single one of you, I'm talking to you right now watching this video, you have made all of this possible thus far. And I cannot wait for you to join me on this next chapter. Stay dangerous.